Hello, and welcome back to the A&R Podcast. I'm your co-host, Ryan.
And I'm your other co-host, Addison.
And today we are reviewing the movie Extraction. Extraction follows a black market mercenary, Tyler Rake, played by Chris Hemsworth, who has nothing to lose and is hired to rescue a kidnapped son of an imprisoned international crime lord. But in the murky underworld of weapons dealers and drug traffickers, an already deadly mission approaches the impossible. So let's hop right into it. Just like the last movie that we reviewed, what did you think of the opening scene?
The opening scene. Can you say that again? Like
Refresh.
what it is? Refresh,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. See. Yeah. It was very hard to. I want to say it was hard to remember, but it was a very boring.
Yeah.
I want to say
was very
boring, like, because it obviously sets up, like, so it sets up Ov, and like you kind of learn a little bit about him, like who he is, but like
that's probably why I didn't understand the movie.
But personally for me, I didn't see what the whole thing, like, I get like he was 14 or something like that, so he likes the girls, like I get that, but I think the interesting should have been him walking into his house, and then him going to the piano where he plays the piano, because personally for me, I thought that the piano scene was really well shot. It was very, like, I guess, like, kind of like futuristic in a sense, because like all the glass and the windows and stuff. Personally for me, I thought that would have been a good just jump to the point scene.
Yeah, okay, the intro was pretty boring, and I mean, no offense, but it was boring, and I kind of like connecting lips with the captions, and so that was kind of hard, and with the audio too, because it was in a different language for a lot of it, but also, yeah, I think the only parts I remember from that were like something with a jail cell, maybe.
Like when Ovi gets captured, what's his name? Saju, I think that's how you Saju. He goes to the prison because Ovi's father is in prison, and he's like, "Oh yeah, your son was kidnapped."
Yeah, your son was kidnapped. Peace. Yeah. And the part where like his friend was shot.
Yeah, that was
so sad.
surprising.
It was like, well, not really sad. It was just like, what the hell? He's like, oh, you got like a lot of life ahead of you, and then he just shoots him. Like, what was that? What was that?
Dramatic irony.
Yeah.
Personally, like, oh my god. Now I'm literally forgetting bits of the movie. So, okay, when they introduce Tyler and he like jumps into the river, then he like stays underwater. Actually, wait. Oh wait. No, the intro scene is the scene where it's like more or less at the end of the movie.
Oh yeah, that was the intro scene.
Like that was a good intro scene.
It was a good intro scene. Okay.
But connecting like the ending to, I guess, the real beginning, I feel like they could have cut the whole thing out where Ovi's friends are like, "Oh yeah, you should ask her out because she has no relevance to the plot."
Whole thing had zero relevance, yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, yeah, you don't, like, not everything has to be relevant in a sense. Like, sometimes you can, like, have, like, little things, because it, like, shows about Obi that he's, like, kind of cautious and, what's the word?
Yeah,
not self-deprecating, self-conscious. There we
go. Yeah, that one.
So, like, yeah, but, like, honestly, I don't think, like, because I think the whole time when Tyler is extracting Ovi, he's scared out of his mind. I think any kid would be. It's like you don't have to play him up as some timid person, because I think it would actually be funnier and more interesting if he was actually, like, instead of having him be like, oh, I'm so self-conscious, he's like a jock. I think that would have been kind of funny.
That would have been interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
A guy can do it. No, kid, you can't.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Oh yeah, so yeah, like after Tyler's introduced, he goes to his home and then we're introduced to Nick. And she's like, from what it seems like his agent when it comes to like mercenary deals or whatever. She's like the one I
Mhm.
guess who handles all the stuff, which is kind of weird because okay, obviously they have or they alluded to well, I don't think they allude, but just like their body language and kind of like the way they talk to each other was like, okay, so they've obviously hooked up before, probably dated. Personally, I thought there was going to be more interactions of Nick and Tyler, because like
Oh yeah.
like I don't know if that was the vibe that you're supposed to get that they like used to date or something, but that's the vibe that I got.
Yeah, I think that was one of the parts that I got brainwashed out of remembering. Cause just at the end, she was at the end, right? That's the first time I saw her.
Wait.
You can tell how much I was paying attention.
Oh
um,
God. Okay. Well,
Addison, no, this is not
um,
what you do.
yeah. You're supposed to pay attention the whole time. I I let's okay. I'm gonna start moving into things I really did like. So I shouldn't say ah there wasn't that much dialogue really in it.
Dialogue, yes, there
Which
wasn't much dialogue,
I think
which
was
I
actually
liked.
yeah, I really like that as well. And like, because I think it added to more of the visual presentation. Because
Uh huh.
so like there were two color palettes. There was like kind of like an orangey red color palette, and then there was like a deep blue color palette. Personally, I like the blue color palette because the orangey red one just like it's not my thing.
Yeah.
So like I really like that, and then I really loved, and I thought that it was actually quite it's different obviously from every movie when he's fighting everyone there's no music, you literally hear
Oh
like
yeah, there is
everything.
zero music, which I
Yeah,
also like.
because it's like personally for me watching the whole thing because who's this person, Sam Hargrave, so he was the director of the movie, so
Mhm.
I think he's a stunt man. So, like, the way that the movie was shot, it felt like I was like kind of like in a video game. Cause like there was
Ooh
like
yeah.
so many like long swivel takes, especially the car chase. Oh my God, everyone's like, oh yeah. Like I remember when everyone was like there was a big like long take that everyone went crazy for. I forget
Oh
where.
yeah, I've heard about that. It also it's in like some number movie that's a year of a war or something like that, I think.
Yeah. And I'm okay, I'm sorry, but this is better because I don't know how they shot this, but there were obviously parts where you could tell like when they like turned the camera, like that there was a cut. Like
Yeah.
the first cut that I actually saw in the car chase scene was I think right after Sanju smashed into one of the police cars and then it like whips to him. I could tell that was a cut because they used like the blurred effect, but everything else was a very clear, it wasn't even a whip, it was more of like a swivel. Like, and it's
Yeah.
just like the choreography of everything must have been insane because all the fight scenes are so good and they had like long takes and there's not that much, I shouldn't say not that much cutting because there's like a good amount of cutting for some of the fight scenes, but like they feel very realistic, especially because from what it seems like Chris Hemsworth must have taken like some stunting, like
Oh
some
yeah,
stunt
definitely.
classes or something like that. Because like
There's no way that he
yeah,
can just do that.
yeah, like either he did all his stunts, so he must have taken some stunt classes, or they were very good at swapping in and out the actors with their stunt doubles. Because like for example, when Tyler and Saju, is that his name? I don't know.
um
Is that how
yeah,
you
I don't
pronounce it?
know. I don't know.
Oh God.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, okay. Um, when they fall off the second story building, and then
Mhm.
like they kind of fall there. You don't see their faces, so you can't like tell if it's the actors. But it looked like I was like pretty sure that I was dumb, and like in theory it makes a lot of sense because both of them had like armor on, so that could
Yeah.
have probably been, like plushy, not plushy armor, but like like where there was kind of like hard foam or
Phone?
something in it
Yeah.
probably to make it like easier on impact. So yeah, like I loved how it was shot. I think
It
this
was
person,
shot really well, yes.
Sam Hargrave. Okay, I want to see what movies he's directed. Yep, his directorial debut was Extraction. So
Oh, nice.
give this man more movies to
Yeah.
do. Like, ooh, a good one is, but they probably already have a director for it. But that a movie that's coming out with Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland, it's gonna be like filmed like in the coming weeks or something. The
That's cool.
Oh my god, what is it? It's the one that's based on the video game with Nathan Drake, Uncharted. That one. They should give
Uncharted.
it to him because so I've actually played the games. I'll explain to you really quickly what
Okay.
Uncharted is about. So it follows this guy Nathan Drake. Well, in the video games, he's like in his 30s, I guess. In this one that they're doing is going to be kind of like a prequel because like Tom Holland's pretty young, and
Yeah.
this Nathan Drake, he's like 30 or something, and he goes on this like treasure hunt
Treasure hunt.
pretty much, and there's like it's kind of like an Indiana Jones style video game.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I think they should give it like obviously they can't, but I think Sam should direct more like any type of action movie, and obviously that's probably going to be an action movie. So
Yeah. That would be so good.
another thing that I really did like about the movie were the sets. Like I'm not sure if it was a set or a real place because like for example when like after the car chase they go into like the two buildings and then you can't even tell really if if it was real or if it was fake because like if it was like a fake set that they built out that must have cost a lot of money, but it could make sense if it was real, but also like they would need to do like a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, for the bridge scene, where they were like fighting and the guy was like aiming with his gun, I thought like I couldn't tell if the scenery behind was fake or not. It looked fake to me though.
Personally, for me, I thought that was real because what made me think it was real was actually when Nick shoots the rocket launcher.
Oh.
Well, okay, I guess yeah, it could be fake because I feel like obviously you wouldn't you won't go to a real place and then shoot down like I guess a movie helicopter because that would scare everyone around it. Oh, speaking of bystanders, so there was a part when Tyler walked over to the laundry, and they accidentally bumped someone, and then the person's face is hilarious. They give
Oh
him like
my
such a
god.
disgusted look, and that's what like made it feel so real that like it wasn't like all smooth like where they like everyone's like walking in like a perfect formation, but he like accidentally bumped into an extra or even a real person and they just give him a disgusted look and I'm just like that's hilarious. Question for you though. So the whole thing with like Jasper, I don't even know what his name is. What did you think of that whole thing? Because I didn't understand why they had that scene.
Oh, which scene was that?
The scene where so Tyler goes over at Gasper's house after he like calls in the favor. I didn't understand why they had that scene.
Oh yeah, that was really confusing. I guess I don't know why they had that scene. Like I guess they needed a place to stay for the night, but like they didn't even stay for the whole night, did they? So that was kind of weird and how they like got in a fight. Yeah, it's just weird.
What I did like about the movie where they had like some kids actually be like real antagonists when they tried to kill Tyler. I genuinely wanted Tyler to actually kill one of them though. Like I know that's really sadistic to say, but it's just like
Yeah, that is pretty sadistic.
But it's just like not like one of the children, cause like you know, but that kid who was like, oh yes, if you let me kill Tyler, I'll let you cut off my finger. Like, okay, they need to explain why that they had the children in the first place, because like our first introduction to them is they're like, from what I got was they were in like a hostage situation with the drug lord dude, and then they just throw a child over the edge.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
what? And then there's the kid who's like, I want to kill this man now. There was no specific reason of why they wanted to kill him. Like, would the kid have gotten some of the ransom money? This movie seems to have already be in the works for a second one, cause like
Oh
especially the
really?
end, yeah, cause like the end where Ovi goes swimming and then you
Yeah.
see what looks like Tyler. So I'm
I
thinking
thought it
like,
was just gonna be a little cliffhanger where you choose.
mhm,
I don't know, but I guess that does make sense.
yeah, which is gonna be very interesting for sure. But okay, let because I don't know. I want to say there's not a lot to this movie, but it's more or less kind of like in a sense the same. Oh, you know what was a good thing? Okay, so at the beginning, okay, I was like, okay, so Saju is on the good side, right?
Yeah.
And then he becomes bad, but then he becomes good, and then like I didn't really did you get any of that?
You know, I don't really know. It was like I thought he was bad at the beginning, like when I first saw him and he was like coming and like fighting and like trying to like take away Ovi, but I guess then they like met up with the and Tyler gave him the guns and it was like okay, we're friends, we're on the same side, we're cool, but I feel like in that time there should have been like some type of connection where they talked about this because you don't just come up with guns and be like peace.
We kind of already knew that they were working for the same thing because Ovi was like, that's Saju. He's like my dad's like right hand man or something like that. But then Tyler's like, no, he's working for the police. And I'm like, wait, why is he working for the police? Isn't he working for Ovi's dad? Because Ovi's dad said that he was gonna kill Saju's family if he didn't like bring Ovi back.
I think what it was is that the dad like hired Tyler and his whole crew to find Ovi, but then he was gonna have Soju like finish the operation, so it wasn't Tyler and his crew who did it, so wouldn't have to pay them.
Yeah. Like, also, you know what they should have done more of? Explaining why, like, I understand why there was a feud between the two drug lords because so Ovi's dad's the drug lord of, I think they said India, and then this other man was the drug lord of Bangladesh. Like, I kind of get that they're like in a sense rival cartels, but is that the reason? Like, that's what I kind of assumed, but I was like, would they like? I wanted to say they wouldn't be rival cartels because they're in two different places. 'Cause I don't really know like how cartels work, but I'm just thinking, like, wouldn't they be more out of truce because one would have Bangladesh and the other would have India, which so the writing of the movie is good, is interest is I keep using the word interesting, so I'm gonna try a different word. Confusing, because it's good in the sense that it has a very good intricate plot, but bad because I don't really know these characters really, especially like what really made me think was so when Tyler gets shot by that kid on the bridge, and then Ovi's like no, and then he runs to him, and then like he's like Tyler no, but then Nick stops him. I was just that for some reason that made me think, wait, why would you care about Tyler? You've known him for like 3 days. Like, if anything, personally for me, I would be, in a sense, afraid of Tyler because he's like mercenary who's really good at his job.
I mean, before, like the earlier that day or whatever, Tyler did choose to save Ovi, basically, like continue to fight for his safety and bringing him home. So I think that built like trust between the two of them. And also, like, then Ovi's like, oh my gosh, you like care about me.
Yeah, that does make sense because yeah, because you kind of get the vibe from Ovi that he's like a well, not the vibe. It's very obvious that he's a very lonely child. Like yeah, with especially when he was like, "Oh, I play the piano." Well, I guess playing the piano doesn't make you lonely, but like he plays it when he's nervous, and it seems like he plays it a lot. Cause from the one piece that I heard, sound I'm guessing it's probably some like maybe famous piece or something like that, and he's very good that he knows how to play a piece like that.
Oh, yeah. And also, I think Ovi just isn't even really allowed to have friends because, like, when he comes home and was hanging out with friends, that guy who works for his dad or whatever was like, yeah, like you can't be going out after school. And so I think he's like trapped at home and not really allowed to have friends. And like, if you want to just keep your kid for like this cute little piano player, like don't have a kid. Just if you have a kid, let them have friends.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, in a sense, like Ovi's kind of like trapped in a prison of his father's making.
Yeah, yeah.
Personally, for you, who is your favorite character?
Well, I don't really know many of the characters, so I'll choose the main character.
Can you name the main character?
Yes, his name is Tyler, and I guess I like him because he's like super badass. Like he's really good at fighting. I mean, like he apparently makes all of his punches and shoots and aims whenever he's dying.
Which is like a little unrealistic.
Yeah, it's pretty unrealistic, but like I don't know, he's just so cool. And I mean, he's like probably a superhuman because, with that thing at the end, and then also, just he's really strong.
Personally, for me, my favorite character was actually Saju because so I feel like so Tyler's in it for the money, right? Because he's like, I need the money, and because like I want to say I didn't like Tyler, but like his motivation didn't really make sense because so like from what I gathered, it seemed like so obviously we learned Tyler's son died when the kid was 6 years old or something like that, right? Because of lymphoma or something. Um, so and then he's like, yeah, I'm gonna save Ovi pretty much. I got that as Tyler's gonna save Ovi because he sees him as like, in a sense, a second chance child. But I was like, that's a little weird, and that's why I kind of liked Saji more because his motivations made way more sense. Because so he's gonna go save Ovi because he needs to save his family. Because Ovi's dad is gonna kill his family if he doesn't save Ovi. So that made 100% like his thing was rock solid in like his character motivation. Also, like okay, well we already talked about this, but like all the fight scenes. Okay, the fight scenes are gonna be something that I'm gonna look forward to in the second movie. But what I really liked about the fight scenes actually was that in a sense it made sense. Like for example when Tyler's about to break Ovi out of the house pretty much and he fights all the dudes. He's not like it's not like classic Hollywood of like well, okay, it's kind of classic Hollywood, where it's like one person comes up, but it actually did seem like he was fighting a multitude of people at once, not like one person after another. Because it seems like he would like punch one person and then like kick another person and then shoot another person and then go back to the first person or something like that. So I really like that because I think especially with the camera movement, it very much heightened the drama and it heightened like the immersiveness. Would you though recommend this movie? Like honestly.
Not really. I mean, like, the fight scenes are really cool and everything. And, like, it's fun to watch, but, like, the storyline isn't that, like, easy to follow, and also, I don't know, it was just kind of boring for me personally. But, like, if somebody likes action, I might recommend it to them. How about you? Would you recommend it?
I would recommend it to some certain people. Yeah, like the plot a little confusing. I would recommend it if you really want to see how an action movie is shot, because I think that's what actually really held the movie together was the fact of how it was shot. So I would recommend it to people who are into filming, because I think looking past the plot, just like how they shoot everything was really well done. Also, I guess you could do like yeah, action like anyone who likes an action movie. And I guess anyone who likes watching Chris Hemsworth. I don't know. Like I know some people who watch movies just because a certain actor is in the movie. So like, if you like watching Chris Hemsworth beat the crap out of people, I I would recommend the movie.
Before we, like, end this podcast, I do want to include this one funny story. When Tyler was shot and, like, dying, it, like, got really silent at one point, and when it got silent, I swear, I had opened TikTok before that because I was getting a little bored. And so it was loading, right? And so I looked up to the screen and forgot I was loading TikTok, and it went, "Janet, where'd you go? I turned out gay. I might be a boy. Everything's gone wrong." And I just got so
Yeah.
confused and I was so
Yeah.
disoriented.
Speaking of disorienting though, I do want to say, as I keep going back to the how it's shot, I feel like so some of the scenes, so for example the car scene, in my opinion, it was disorienting to like kind of watch, because so personally the way I think they did was probably they got like so they had like a cameraman like on like an ATV or something like that, so like obviously it wasn't like perfectly like no movement or anything. But like then again, it was also I guess that's also another reason why I would recommend it to someone, because it seemed like with everything, the characters were moving the way that the camera was moving. Like well, like obviously, but like from what it seemed like, so when Tyler and Ovi are just walking anywhere, it seemed like it was handheld. It was like a handheld camera and not like on like track for the camera to get like a perfect still shot or whatever. And then like when there was any like car chase scenes, it was like on some type of motorized vehicle, or like literally in the car with them, which I thought was really, because I think the only time that, well, no, I was gonna say the only time that was kind of still in quotes was so when Tyler like hit Saju and he like flew into. Speaking of that though, well, I'll get to that after my point. Like it like it seemed to like hook on the side of the passenger side. Okay, for the movie, how have these characters not died? Like specifically Tyler and Saju, both of them get hit by a car, and they're somehow still like walking and running around. Like especially Saju, because he gets smacked by a truck that's purposely driven to hit him. Like how is he not dead? Like you literally just fell 2 stories and got hit by a truck. Like bruh.
Oh my god, yeah, I feel like so many of these characters, yeah, should have died.
Like, are they superhuman or something like that? Like I need to know.
I mean, throughout the show, I was getting some vibes that were like from the OA, and like that show kind of has some like supernatural slash, or it does definitely does have some supernatural slash superhuman aspects to it.
Could you like explain a little more about the OA so me and everyone else listening kind of knows like what the OA is about so we can connect to that?
So the OA follows this girl who was blind, but she comes home and she's not blind, and they're like, how the hell? So what happened was she left home and she went and found this man. Well, she didn't try to find him, but she found him, and he like took her to like this slimy basement area, which was like kind of a jail for her. Like he kidnapped her basically with kind of her consent, but she was blind, so she had no clue what she was getting into. Anyways, what this man does is he like tries to get these people. There were other people in the basement too. Tries to get these people to have near-death experiences. So he like drowns them almost, so that they like pretty much die. And I kind of got those vibes, especially when Tyler went down into that water. And I mean, like, I'm also just getting the vibes throughout the show that Tyler just wants to die.
Yeah, I kind of got that as well. But like also like I think he wants to die like as a martyr. Cause like obviously if he wanted to die, he could have just killed himself. Because he has access to all these weapons, he could just shoot himself in the head or something like that. But I think he wants to die like a martyr, like cause so like we learned that he wasn't even there when his 6-year-old died. He was touring, I think he said Afghanistan for his third time by choice because he didn't want to be around that. So he's like, if I want to kill myself, but I don't want to make my life meaningless in the sense because like kind of already messed it up by the fact that I wasn't there for my child when he was like in pain. Do you have any more comments about the movie?
I do not.
That was our review for Extraction. Next week we will be watching Lady Bird. That was a review on the A&R Podcast. I'm your co-host Ryan.
And I'm your other co-host, Addison.
And we'll see you next week.